The Giants just wrapped up their second practice of the training camp session, and we're going to break all that down, talking about some injuries, news, notes, and some highlights. But first, if you're excited and ready for the NFL season after seeing a couple training camp practices go down, I want you to type G-Men in the comment section right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we're going to run through the first and the second training camp practice. The Giants, they finished up 2 practices now. And I'm going to give you my biggest takeaways from both of those practices. But first, I want to start with this quote from Evan Neal. He spoke with Mike Garafolo of NFL Network. And Garafolo asked him, what's it like playing with a guy like Daniel Jones? And he said, he commands the huddle. He's the general of the offense. I'm just excited to get better with him, protect him, and block my ass off. And that's what you want out of your young offensive tackle you selected in the first round. These are non-padded practices. The Giants' first padded practice will be Monday, so we haven't got to see too much from Evan Neal, but all signs and everyone's there says that he has looked absolutely magnificent. People that haven't got to practice, though, the injury report. Azeez Ojulari, he's on the NFI list with that hamstring injury. As soon as he's ready to go, he can be elevated off that list and get back to practice. Same with all of these guys. Even Sterling Shepard on the PUP, Nick Gates on the PUP list, Matt Peart on the PUP list, and Blake Martinez has been a limited participant, still kind of coming back from that ACL injury he had early in the 2021 season. But the PUP list, you're on that list, and if you're on that list when the first game of the regular season starts, you will have to miss 4 games. But right now, just like Daniel Bellinger, who was on it last week, you can get elevated at any time in return to practice. But make sure you're subscribed. Go down and hit that big red button, because when we get injury updates on Azeez Ojulari or Sterling Shepard or Nick Gates or Blake Martinez, we're going to get you guys a video as soon as possible. So hit that big red button, subscribe, turn your notifications on, so when injury news comes out, we can get you guys a video as soon as possible. I have 4 takeaways from Giants training camp. We'll run through all those, and we have some tweets at the end of the show for people that were at practice. Kadarius Toney, he's been the best player at practice through the first 2 sessions. This catch he had yesterday was just beautiful. They were working a red zone one-on-one drill. Daniel Jones throws him a perfect back shoulder ball, and Kadarius Toney goes OBJ and just snags it one-handed in traffic. Good coverage by Aaron Robinson. Then he caressed and corralled the ball as he went to the ground. You can push that next one. We'll just kind of roll through these. And he got his feet down. Kadarius Toney has the potential to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. It just all is about up here with him. We've kind of talked, somewhat negatively on this show before about him, but I don't think any of that has been unjustifiable. But with Toney, we know he's a player. He's just got to be bought all in. If he stays healthy, watch out. Toney could be the guy that elevates this offense from a middle of the pack to below average offense to one of the best in the NFL, and I truly believe that, because when you have a true wide receiver one that keeps defensive coordinators up at night like Kadarius Toney will, if he's engaged and healthy, watch out, because Kadarius Toney could have a great sophomore season. I just want to show Kadarius Toney some love, because we've talked about him in trade rumors. We talked about him not being at voluntary off-season workouts, but it doesn't matter now, because he's there when it's mandatory, and we need him to have a great season. So type 89 in the comment section to show Kadarius Toney some love. My second biggest takeaway, and this could have been number 1, the new offensive scheme that the Giants are working and running with is incredible. The amount of motion, the different formations, the creativity is something that we're not used to. I mean, the use of motion at this point is just beautiful. And Brian Daboll said it's not going to be used every play, but a lot of plays, and he uses it to create deception and make the defense think, because that's what's important. You don't just want to go up and be vanilla every single time and tell them what you're going to run, a la Jason Garrett. But Dan Duggan, I thought, did a great job breaking down what he's seen from the Giants offense early on in training camp. This is what he had to say. He said, on the first play during 11-on-11s, Robinson was lined up in the backfield and running back Saquon Barkley was in the slot. Jones faked a handoff to Wan'Dale Robinson and threw a short pass to Toney. Robinson lined up as a receiver and beat safety Xavier McKinney for a touchdown on 1 end zone or red zone play, it's already clear that the second round pick is going to have a major role in this offense. The creativity is different. Kadarius Toney has been lined up in the backfield. Wan'Dale Robinson has been lined up in the backfield. He's getting carries like he did early on in his collegiate career at Nebraska. Before he got to Kentucky, he was a running back. They are using Saquon Barkley not just as a running back, but as a weapon, outside, flanked out as a wide receiver, in the slot, the motion. He had this nasty one-hand catch. It was like a wheel route out of the backfield, but a stop and go. We have never seen that from the New York Giants. And right now, Jason Garrett is clapping it up somewhere, is an absolute shambles. Having to see this Giants offense be creative, innovative, and running a modern offense. No more I formation. No more 3 tight ends on the field. This offense is going to look way different. I'm so glad the clap man is gone. And one last time, we'll do it on the show. Type FJG in the comments. It's going to be the last time we do it, so let's all participate. Let's have some fun with it. Type FJG in the comments if you're glad that Jason Garrett is no longer with the New York Giants. Richie James and Wan'Dale Robinson have been shining and playing extremely well early on in camp. And this is more so going to be an offensive focused show. I probably should have said that off the top because these are non-padded practices, and it's kind of hard to gauge the defense in that type of light when you can't get a true pass rush, you can't really put your hands on someone, and there's no hitting. So we're going to focus on some offensive players. And Wan'Dale Robinson, he's looked great. We talked about it a second ago. Dan Duggan noted it. He's been used all over the football field as the outside receiver, as the slot receiver, as the running back, and he's been used in motion a whole lot. I'm expecting a lot from the second-round draft pick this year, and I think he's going to be a big difference maker early on in the season. A guy that we have talked about on the show, but I don't think everyone realizes is going to make this team, is Richie James. He's been extremely impressive early on. He was cooking Darnay Holmes in one-on-one red zone opportunities. One-on-ones favor the wide receivers, but when you continuously cook somebody, that means you're doing something right. He runs crisp routes, and the fact is he can contribute on special teams. And when you look at this wide receiver depth chart, we know that the 4 guys pictured are going to make this team. And Golladay, Shepard, Toney, and Robinson. Then you have Slayton, Board, Richie James all fighting for that 5th and 6th spot at the wide receiver room. And with CJ Board and Richie James giving you some production on the special team side of the ball, that's going to help them make this roster. And another reason that's going to help them make this roster is the Darius Slayton drops continue. Dropped another couple passes today, was wide open. When you're trying to catch a football like this and your arms cross and the ball goes right through the frickin' palms of your hands, it's a problem. I like Darius Slayton, but we have to all agree at this point. He's on the roster bubble. And if he continues to stack bad practice after bad practice, he's going to be looking from the outside in when it comes to the Giants' 53-man roster. He had a great start to his career, was a rookie sensation, 8 touchdowns. But in the last 2 years, he has 12 drops. He has just been bitten by the snake of the drop bugs. He can't shake it. His confidence is shook, just like Evan Ingram in Jacksonville. He keeps dropping balls. Type EE if you're hyped that Evan Ingram's out of here. But you can't drop the football if you're a marginal talent at wide receiver like Darius Slayton, or you will probably not be in the NFL for very long. But I want to ask you guys this question. Predict it for me. If you were Joe Schoen sitting in the seat of the general manager, or you were in the war room when the roster goes from 90 to 53, I want to hear from you. Will Darius Slayton make the roster? Type M for make, type C for cut. I want to hear from you all right now. I just want to run through some tweets now of people that were at training camp and they gave some takeaways. Shout out to Bobby Skinner and Talking Giants, great YouTube channel. He's also a great Twitter follower, one of the best in the Giants beat in my opinion. But these were his Giants training camp day 2 thoughts, and he had a little funny way to spell it. Bobby's a funny-ass dude. He said, the drop issues with Kenny Golladay and Darius Slayton. Golladay dropped 1 ball on Wednesday. He also dropped a ball on Thursday, but he also had a really big catch. Ran about a 20-yard crossing route, caught it, got upfield, and might have scored in that situation. I'm not too worried about Golladay, but I am worried about Slayton. He also said Golladay is being used well and targeted downfield, and that's what we want. We want to see Golladay used like he was in Detroit. He's a deep threat. Throw him the ball deep. 6'5", long wingspan, one of the best contested catch rates in the NFL the past couple of years. Even when he's covered, he's open. He wins 50-50 balls. Give him a chance. Darnay Holmes, he said, is looking really good. And that's what we need. We need Darnay Holmes to step up and be that number one slot corner and man that spot and teach a young guy like Cordell Flott what it takes to play in the NFL. He said Kayvon's first step is nice, and we know that. We've been talking about that at the channel a long time. It is going to be so fun to see number 5 play football this year. He said the corners did well in man on 3rd and short. Today at practice, the Giants focused on a whole bunch of 3rd down situations. Wednesday, it was all about the red zone, and he said the corners did well today on 3rd and short. And he said Quincy Roche is buried on the depth chart. And that sucks because I'm a fan of Roche. Go back to the Las Vegas Raiders game when he had the game-winning strip sack on Derek Carr. I think he has potential. I hate that he's buried on the depth chart. I hope he gets a fair opportunity to make this roster. Zane, who also covers the Giants, has been at training camp, and he said Evan Neal has looked incredible so far. That's not even an exaggeration or bias. He's dominating so far. Can't wait to see him in pads. There is no padded practice going on right now. Monday is the first padded practice, so I'm excited to see Evan Neal having to block Kayvon Thibodeaux, Leonard Williams, and maybe when Azeez Ojulari gets out there. It is so good and such a good feeling to have Evan Neal on one side and Andrew Thomas on the other. It's a great time to be a Giants fan because you no longer have to watch Nate Solder play football. Bobby also was charting Daniel Jones's stats on the day. He said Jones went 13 for 21 today with 2 drops and a defensive pass interference included. He said the first team offense looked sloppy to start but finished with 7 straight completions. Kenny Golladay is being used downfield a lot. We like that. He's a deep threat. Target him. Jones has looked good. Made a couple bad passes, but hey, that's what camp's about. Trying to fit the ball into the tight windows that you won't try in the regular season to find out the capableness and the limits that you can reach as a quarterback. Dable has said he wants Jones to be aggressive in camp, and he's doing it. I liked what I've seen from him, and he's commanding the huddle, and he's already having the respect of young guys on this team. I just want to look at this picture before we get on out of here. That's a lot of talent right there, man. And iron sharpens iron right there. Andrew Thomas, Kayvon Thibodeaux, one-on-one pass rush drills. That is fun to watch. I can't wait to see Evan Neal as well get in the mix. It's just crazy. Last year, we were watching Lorenzo Carter and Nate Solder do one-on-ones. Now, we're watching Thibodeaux, Thomas, and Evan Neal do it. It's a big leap from last year, and it is amazing where we are. I'm excited. I'm ready to see the Giants back on the gridiron. The NFL season is just around the corner. And for that, give me a follow on Twitter, because as the season gets closer and closer, I'm going to continue to tweet more and more about the New York Football Giants. And I'll do this. Everyone that follows me from today's show, I'll follow you back. Just give me a follow at @MarshallGreen_.